Level 1. The candidate. You're 22. The application asked questions no other job application asks. Your foreign contacts. Your financial history. Every country you've visited and why. Every substance you've used and when. You answered everything honestly because you were told early that the polygraph finds omission faster than fabrication. The polygraph takes 4 hours. The examiner speaks in the same flat tone the entire time. You leave not knowing if you passed. 3 months later, a letter arrives with instructions. No letterhead, a phone number. You call it. The Career Trainee Program at the CIA's training facility in Virginia, which most people know only as the farm. Months of instruction in tradecraft, surveillance detection, asset recruitment, cover construction, report writing, and the particular discipline of maintaining 2 versions of yourself simultaneously. Your primary instructor is a senior operations officer named Carver, who spent 16 years running assets in 3 different regions before coming to teach. He opens the first session with a question. What is the most dangerous moment in any clandestine operation? The room offers answers. The dead drop, the meeting, the exfiltration. Carver shakes his head at all of them. The most dangerous moment, he says, is the one where you stop being curious. You write it down. Level 2, the analyst. You're 24. Your first assignment is not the field. It is Langley. A desk, classified databases, signals intelligence, human intelligence reports, satellite imagery, diplomatic cables. You read all of it and you produce assessments, and the assessments go into products, and the products reach people whose names you are not told. You are building a picture of a region you have never visited, from evidence gathered by people you will never meet, about events that happened before you arrived. You learn to hold uncertainty precisely, not to round it into confidence it hasn't earned. Your supervisor, a senior analyst named Worthington, returns your first draft with 1 note in the margin. It says, "What don't you know?" You rewrite it. The second draft is half as long and twice as useful. Level 3, the case officer. You're 27. First overseas posting. A mid-sized embassy in a country whose name you will not write in this account. Your cover is a consular officer, which is common enough that no one looks twice. Your real function is recruiting and handling human intelligence sources, assets. People who, for their own reasons, are willing to provide information that their government does not want your government to have. You learn quickly that recruitment is not persuasion, it is recognition. You find the person who already wants to talk, and you create the conditions in which talking feels possible. Your first asset is a mid-level trade ministry official, named in your files only by a cryptonym. He doesn't think of himself as a spy. He thinks of himself as someone correcting an injustice. You let him think that because it is also true. Level 4, the senior field officer. You're 31. You have run 11 assets across 2 postings. 3 have been terminated, 2 by your recommendation, when the access degraded past usefulness, 1 by circumstances outside anyone's control. That third termination costs something you do not discuss in formal settings. You carry it in the way you carry things at this level, present and accounted for, and never in the way of the work. Your current posting is higher risk than the previous 2. The counterintelligence environment is aggressive. You detect surveillance on your 3rd week and spend the next month varying your pattern before resuming operational activity. Your station chief, an officer named Bellamy, watches how you handled it and says nothing for 6 weeks. Then she assigns you the station's most sensitive, ongoing operation. That is what 6 weeks of silence meant. Level 5, the station deputy. You're 36. You are second in command of a station with 12 officers, a network of assets spanning 4 target sets, and an operational tempo that runs every day, including the days the calendar says are holidays. You manage the officers below you the way Bellamy managed you, by giving them room and then being exactly where they need you when the room runs out. A junior officer named Strauss runs an asset meeting that goes sideways. The asset is rattled. The information is compromised in a way that can be contained but only quickly. Strauss comes to you at 2,300. You are awake. You work the problem together until 0, 4, 0, 0. The containment holds. In the morning debrief, you let Strauss present the solution. His name is on it. That is correct. Level 6, the station chief. You're 41. You run the station now. Every operation, every asset, every officer, every decision made in the dark, with incomplete information and no available consultation reports upward through you. You have learned that authority at this level is not the power to act. It is the responsibility to have already considered everything before the moment requiring action arrives. A recruitment operation you authorized produces intelligence that reaches the National Security Council. You are briefed that it shaped a policy decision. You are not told which one. You will not be told. The intelligence crossed into a system above yours and disappeared into it, and that is exactly how it is supposed to work. Level 7, the Senior Operations Officer. You're 45. Langley again. You oversee operations across a geographic division, 15 stations, hundreds of assets. Officers you have never met running operations. You read only in summary. You attend senior staff meetings, and you represent the operational reality of a region to people who understand it through data. Your function is translation, keeping the data honest about what it cannot show. A proposed operation comes forward from a station chief with strong access and strong reasoning. The risk assessment is optimistic. You say so once, specifically, with evidence. The operation is restructured. The station chief is not pleased. 18 months later, the restructured version produces a result the original design would not have survived to reach. Level 8, the Deputy Director of Operations. You're 50. You are responsible for all clandestine human intelligence operations conducted by the United States government worldwide. The weight of that sentence is not abstract. It is specific. It has names attached. Officers in places where being identified means not coming home. Assets whose families do not know what they do. Operations that exist in no document accessible to any court. You approved all of it. Your name is on none of it. That is the architecture of the work, and you accepted it the day you called the number on the letter with no letterhead. A congressional oversight briefing requires you to describe operational activity in terms that satisfy legal oversight without compromising sources. You spend 3 days preparing 6 minutes of testimony. Every word is accurate. Every word is also the minimum required. Carver told you once that the most dangerous moment is when you stop being curious. You are still curious about everything, about everyone. That has not changed. Level 9, the end of the line. You're 54. The retirement is not announced. There is no ceremony in the conventional sense. A small gathering in a room at headquarters with people who know what the years actually contained. A deputy director shakes your hand and says your name followed by a number. The number is the count of recruited assets across your career who are still active, still providing, still protected. You did not know the number until this moment. It is larger than you expected and also incomplete because it does not count the ones you lost, and you count those privately in the way you have always counted them. You drive home through Northern Virginia in the early evening. You pass a shopping center you used once as a surveillance detection route in a training exercise 32 years ago. The dry cleaner on the corner is a different dry cleaner now. The route still works. You know because you checked it this morning without deciding to. Some things become permanent. You think about Carver's question. The most dangerous moment is when you stop being curious. You were curious this morning about the dry cleaner. You will be curious tomorrow about something else. The career is over. The habit of mind that made it possible is not going anywhere. You have made peace with that. It took a while. Now it is simply true. If you spent 32 years checking dry cleaners out of habit, you already know how this ends. Subscribe and stay inside the kind of story most people never get close enough to read.